people who are in decision-making positions assume that they are not affected by what we're discussing. Everyone is affected.
Everyone is affected, absolutely.
Yes. This complete disregard. The senator made a lovely speech, said wonderful things, but does he have a track record of doing anything to change? He's senator. He's supposed to speak. They're supposed to debate. We understand all that. But what is this thing that he has done to show that he actually... Remember, I'm going back to one gentleman by the name of Mike Mbuvi. You see, he's been criticized for having his Sonko rescue team. What do they do? Blah, blah, blah. But fine, it's easy to punch holes in something, but he's doing something.
He sent.
But
if
the
we look
position
specifically
no,
at this, okay, I can
He's
understand what
doing
you're saying.
something.
He
The
actually sent
position
his people
Sakaja
down.
is in, the position Sakaja is in, what he's trying to do is create structures and a safety net for everybody, not just sort of stopgap measures for individual incidents. So what he's trying to do is bring Parliament or bring Senate up to standard in terms of the thinking, and then maybe legislate for it so that you have laws and policy that actually cover everybody. You don't want stopgap measures where you bring in one ambulance in case there's
No.
You want
Njeri.
Look, I like Sakaja. I'm not going to trash him on this show. I think he's done well.
I'm not. You see, this is the thing. Njeri is exemplifying what I was saying earlier on. You can't say something that seems to be contrary to what someone is saying.
No, I was being somewhat flippant,
without it being labeled as
I'm not going to let you talk to Kenyans and tell them Sonko is doing well with his approach to management of resources or to management of disasters. Hold on, let me finish.
No, I am not going to let you this time, because if the so-called structures that people who legislate, if those structures are supposed to be in place but they don't function, so what are you supposed to do? Wait for them to take
there's been leaders previously that haven't been able to do so. So what Sakaja is trying to do is ensure that policies are created.
That they're doing something, then how is it then this is nothing?
You cannot have in a country with
who says you cannot have
with 51 million people.
Who decides
because
what individual
with 51 million
should look
people,
like?
with 51 million people, you cannot have a system whereby a governor decides I'll buy 3 ambulances. No, the governor needs to actually put together a policy that creates ambulances for everybody.
We have
you
those
cannot
policies.
you can't have stopgap
we have
measures.
Those policies,
so now we actually have good leaders
Yes.
such as Sakaja who can come and implement them. That is what he's trying to do, as opposed to wasting resources and energy
Senators don't
on
implement
stopgap
anything.
measures.
They just debate things.
Well, they can push for things
So
to
a
be
governor who
implemented.
can implement, who has the executive power, should actually ensure that there are structures at work, not just dependent on
This is the very mentality.
As
See,
long
this
as-
is the very mentality that we're actually trying to fight. This idea that Sonko can come in with a stopgap measure, a band-aid, as opposed to actually put policy, create policy, and implement policy that helps everybody across the board. So as opposed to going and paying somebody's hospital bill, which has a great sense of
He
PR,
doesn't
and
pay
he gets
everybody's
no.
hospital
I'm
bill.
giving
There
an
are
example.
people who probably
What
can't
he needs,
pay.
what he needs.
We have
to do,
Harambes. Should we stop Harambes as well?
What he needs to
Are you
do
saying
is
we should not
ensure
have-
that medical assistance is across the board. It's
have
affordable. It's for
NHIF.
everybody.
We have those
So
things.
he needs to ensure
but they
that
don't
hospitals
always work.
What is not working about it, that is what Sonko needs to deal with. He
It's
doesn't
not-
need to go around paying individual hospital bills and publicizing it for
What
good
we
publicity.
shouldn't have
No,
is
that is not
people
what
like
governance
you
and leadership is about.
theorizing about things that should happen which we know don't happen, and which is why we're having this particular debate, because
But you
these
see,
things
people like
don't happen.
Sonko are the very people. They're a hindrance to this moral outrage we speak
No,
of.
they are a
Because we then
product
see
of the ineffectual management of the
no,
country.
No.
Because people like that wouldn't thrive if the government was doing what they're supposed to do.
We're
Now,
talking
if we let these things actually seep over, we would have the moral outrage that we need in order to bring about
We were
effective
talking
change.
about
So-
But if we
gangs
have
the other
somebody
day.
who's
How
putting a
do
band-aid
gangs come into
constantly,
being?
There are different organs. So there is the people, right?
Yes.
Which Ndu is actually raising the point about today. The people. There are legislators who come up with policies and laws,
who
right?
are people as well, and
Who
that's
are people as
and
well.
stopgap measures
and
that
they
have no
review-
real effect.
And they review the existing policies and they say, okay, so why is its policy not working? Why is it not being implemented? So let's review it. Let's create structures that help it to get implemented better. And then there are others that are supposed to implement the executive, right?
I think-
And the executive has a role to ensure that what is there can work and what cannot work. If you can create a structure privately that can work, then implement that structure, let it work for the public.
you
But we
can't
must
have
understand that
personalized
structures. But we
services.
must understand that structures are mobilized or move forward
Jerry,
by
you're
people.
over-prescriptive.
No, you
By
cannot have
people.
personalized
You are
services. You need
over-prescriptive.
institutionalized services. In a
Even
country that
in-
is democratic,
even in
where there's
countries that
taxpayers,
are
you can't have
developed
this.
and they have structures which work. You have people they call philanthropists. That's individual help, is it not?
The people who move.
And it supports an existing
Sonko's
structure,
job is
does
not
it
to be a philanthropist.
These
That is
institutions-
to win him
these
the popularity
You must
vote.
not allow
Sonko's-
your
Sonko's
disregard
job-
for an individual or your regard for an individual.
Sonko's
to-
approach to solutions is completely wrong. It's
his
individualized, it's
expression of anger,
personalized.
maybe.
No. It actually harms this thing we call moral outrage
No.
that can lead to change.
No.
It pacifies us.
You
That's
are the
what
one
it does,
who
and we don't
seems
need
to have the view
pacification.
that
No.
your perspective of life is the correct one.
Of course it is. I wouldn't have
and
the view otherwise.
that unless people subscribe to this thing that you consider proper, then it doesn't work. There are individuals who wouldn't thrive in any society if a situation that makes them thrive didn't exist. It's not really complicated. These so-called developed nations, completely and thoroughly developed, you still have why do I refer to the philanthropists? People who come out to assist. Why are they assisting? It's individual effort. They wouldn't assist if the need didn't arise.
These are not elected leaders that have a duty to provide these services or to ensure these services are provided for their people, to agitate for these services. When Sonko starts these stopgap measures, these
He doesn't,
I don't even know
he
what to
doesn't
call them.
start
When he implements them, he's actually negating from the fact that he should be doing a lot more to ensure that these services reach everybody, not just the individuals that he goes and pays hospital bills for and then has that
Do you
publicized.
know
That
how
is not
many
that is not
informals-
governance
I
in
think
a
What's
democracy.
happening in the studio this morning is an expression of anger, is an expression of issues. That this is how Kenyans should get. All of us
This
should get
isn't
like this.
anger. This
And
is
this is what we're
dissent and
saying.
disagreement.
I think
It's
what
not anger.
0719 012 600. I'm opening